Fix It Tony here. So we have our 95 Camaro. We're actually doing an oil change and doing some other work. It has a slow start, so we're thinking it needs a fuel filter. This car is actually going to go for sale. It actually only has 110,000 original miles on it. It has the 3.4 liter V6 in her. Little job here. They don't sell the air intakes for these, and you can't switch them out aftermarket in California, so it kind of sucks. You're kind of stuck with that. Hopefully the Jay Leno law goes through and this car will be smog exempt here in the near future. But you know, you can see she's had kind of a tough life. We actually cut the front end off another Camaro to put it on this one. Somebody spun this one out and smashed this whole side. So we cut out the side of another one, the front clip of another one, and put it on here. So we're going to do oil change. We have a slow start situation. We're going to go ahead and replace the fuel filter. More than likely just got a clogged fuel filter. These 95 models don't have the poly tank. They have the metal tank. So the likelihood is it clogged the fuel filter. So we'll get that taken care of while we're up there. You gotta love the simplicity of these older GM cars. Like this one, the 3.4, as long as you treat it right, this engine does great. We've used Valvoline Restore and Protect in this engine since we got this car. And this engine's remarkably clean inside. When I say remarkably clean, we'll show you in a second in the video. But, I mean, just the engineering on these is way different. For even the 2002 models, you can see here, you actually have jack points on these. The newer model, unfortunately, the Gen 4 right before the end of the run, they did away with these mounts. I don't know why, because everyone smashes the fenders on these things when they try to jack them up. They don't have a clear place to jack them. So I'm not sure why General Motors did away with that, but they did. So we're gonna get this strained out, get the oil filter replaced, start working on that fuel filter, and we'll go from there. Now, the oil filter is probably the hardest part, but honestly, with a pair of oil filter pliers, this isn't very hard to get out. Comes out fairly easy. A lot of people, you know, they complain about it's hard to do oil changes on these older cars. They really aren't. This is actually pretty easy, comparatively speaking. Wish they were all this easy. All right, so we have our scope here. Put a fisher inside, and I'll show you how clean she is. It's a little smoky in there. That's not abnormal. There's a rotating assembly. These engines tend to not have the greatest PVC, but I mean, for a 30-year-old engine, a little bit of pot rust there, but that's normal because of the cast they use on these. It's in really good shape. And it actually just smogged it, and it was perfect, actually lower than average. So it goes to show you, these engines were built to last if you treat them right. So here's our fuel filter, and again, they made this so easy to work on. I don't know what they've done to these new cars. Make it so hard. The only issue with these is they do have the, you can see it back over here, the metal tank here, and that tends to rust. So that's the only weak point, because you end up with rust in the fuel filter, and that's when you end up with problems. Not the cobwebs. Car had been sitting for a little bit, but still runs like a, spins like a top. So we're gonna go and take this loose and put the new fuel filter in. Fortunately, you can't really do these one-handed, but it's a 20 millimeter and a 16 millimeter. These have little tabs. You just squeeze those tabs and that pulls out. Just make sure you have a drop pan available. Doing this on a driveway, a lot more difficult than doing it with a lift, because the fuel's not dropping all over you as you're trying to do it. And then these clips that they use, they're not bolt on. I usually just use a wrench, push on it, and then push out. And that will pull the tab out. You can bend it, put it out of the way, put the new one in. Same thing, when you put it back in, bend it back in place, push it, shove it back in. So anyway, fuel filter's done. It definitely had rust in it. Let's see if it actually will pour. I saw it pour out when I was doing it here. So let's see here. Yeah, see that rusty water? Rusty gasoline. It has that yellow tinge to it. That's why these clog up, unfortunately, on these steel tanks. And this goes for anything with a metal tank. If you leave it for any amount of time, that's going to happen. So we'll go ahead and get her on the floor and put some fuel on her. 4 quarts of Valvoline Restore and Protect, capped off, and we'll get her started here. I think I said topped off with fuel. I meant topped off with oil, but we're going to top off with fuel because we're going to cycle it a couple of times and make sure that there's plenty of fuel in the lines to get her started on the first try. Alrighty, you can see right here, see 110,000 miles. Got it when it had like 80 on it. The kids, we bought this as a project car, and it was crashed, so we got it for cheap, real cheap. Only thing we're into it is the repairs we did, which were just various, you know, battery, radiator, water pump. But after, you know, doing the work ourselves, yeah, hear that fuel pump charge up, there we go. So we should be good now. After all in, I mean, and a set of tires and everything else, and that's the beauty. Everything works in this car. I mean, we put a sound system in it. You don't have a lot of options with the older style. You can't really do a double din in here, but air conditioner works. I mean, you can't beat it. This is actually going to be a good car for somebody, and we were going to keep it, but you know, again, why keep a car that runs well that somebody else can probably get some usage out of? It's the kind of the way I look at things. We'll get her backed out and give her a test drive. So I lost the last piece of video and audio, but I just wanted to go through the repairs we did on this car. This is what it originally looked like. Underneath the apron was smashed, so it was the radiator core. So we found this donor car. We ripped all the parts we needed. They had a blown engine and transmission, so went ahead and sacrificed this car. We cut out the section, did the repair, pulled out the panel. And there's my son and I were welding that bad boy back together again. Got it all test fitted and just went ahead and did some tack welds on it, and then pieced her back together. Gave her another chance at life. Please like, subscribe, and share. If you're interested in this vehicle, it will be up for sale in the next couple of months. I'll put a link in the post.